I'm a bit troubled by this. Number one, the father is chastising his son and his nephew. He titled the video, I guess, "Do we blame the schools for this or video games?" He writes, "I just found out my son and nephew can't read." So number one, I applaud the father, for being involved in his son's life and his nephew's life. They obviously both respect him. I applaud you for that, sir. But I condemn you for not taking responsibility and accountability a very long time ago. The same video you're using to shame them, and primarily him, your son, is an indictment against you as a parent. I'm going to go ahead and play this little short video, and then I'll explain why.
All right, bro. How old is you? And how old are you? 17. Exactly. Sound like God. Nigga 17. And you don't know this word? I'm going to show you off. Now, I'm going to finish show him. What does that say, Maurice? What did it say? You got to be lying. Look at this. Look, okay. What's this? It's a what? So you know what that is, right? Okay. And what that say? Reender. It say reender. Boy, that don't make no damn. And you sitting there, you probably think it say the same thing. He's look at this. I'm gonna show y'all something. I want y'all to see what I'm seeing. I know I ain't tripping. What that say, Makai? Piggy on. That say piggy on. Ain't no goddamn let me show y'all something. Now watch this. Let me show y'all something. What's this? A pigeon. This is a pigeon, right? So you know what that is? It's a bird. Oh, it's a bird, right? That's not a damn eagle, man. He just says it's a pigeon.
This is what happens when kids rather play video games than pay attention in school.
Bro, y'all, you gotta be kidding me. Ain't no way you don't know this word, bro. How old is you? And how old are you?
Your son is 17. 14? Sir, you asked your son, how old is you? That says it all as far as I'm concerned. How old is you? And you're basically saying he is not paying attention in school. But what about you, sir? Is that what they taught you? How old is you? How old is you? You are the father, and you talk like that. And you talk like that at the same time that you are condemning them for a lack of proper literacy and grammar. When you're saying, how old is you? Sir, it should be, how old are you? But here's the thing. As a father, I remember when my oldest son was, I don't remember how old he was. I think he was probably in first grade or second grade. And I had him to read something, or he read something. I can't remember if he was in first or second grade, and it does matter. But I didn't feel that he was up to speed where he should be as far as his literacy, his reading and comprehension. So I inquired about that to find out how he was doing in school. He didn't live with me, but I was with him every single weekend, right? So I called and asked his grandmother, I said, how is he doing in school? He's doing fine. What about reading? Have you had conferences with his teacher? You spoke to them about that or anything? No, they haven't said anything. They haven't said anything about him underperforming. His grades are okay. He's getting good grades. Yeah, he's doing fine. I said, it's been so long ago since I was his age, but it seems like at that age, I was a lot more literate. And I didn't think about it at the time, but of course I was a lot more literate because I was advanced. I was damn near a prodigy at that age. When I was in second grade, they advanced me to third grade reading, then fourth, fifth, all the way to sixth grade reading. And then they told my parents that they had advanced me as far as they could. I was the only child in the second grade that they had advanced all the way to the sixth grade reading, and it was still easy for me. That is because I had started reading even before first grade, and I had started school at the age of 3. So using myself as an example was not a good example. I just wanted him to be up to par. So even though, in fact, I told her to check with his teachers, and they said he was doing just fine. But I still was not satisfied as a father. I said, Jonathan, your teachers say that you are doing just fine as far as your ability to read, but I am not satisfied. So I'm going to start working with you on reading because reading is fundamental. So one of the things I did is it just so happened to be coincidentally that I saw a yard sale. I was driving by one day and I saw a yard sale. Somebody was selling books. And they were selling the books for I don't remember how much each book was. It might have been 50 cents per book. They had a sign. And it was a lot of books. And they were all in a box. You pick whatever books you want. They're 50 cents each. And let's just put it like this. It was a big box full of, and these were all children's books. And I don't know how many it was, but I got out my car. I walked up to them. I saw all the books. They were at various ages. At various levels, the books were. I said, I'll give you $20 for all of them. And they took it. So I am telling you, it was more than 40 books. It was more than 40 books. I don't know how many it was. Maybe it was 60. I don't know. But I said, I'll give you $20 for all of them. And I did. I bought all the books, put them in my car. And then when I picked my son up that weekend, I had brought one of the books with me. And I said, Jonathan, I am not satisfied with your reading ability at this point. So I'm going to start working with you. Now, when I would pick him up, the ride from Pasadena to my apartment in Los Angeles was about an hour and 15 minutes. I said, I want you to read all the way back to my house. And I want you to read out loud as I drive, and I'm going to work with you. And every time I pick you up, this is what we're going to do. I said, not only that, but when you come each weekend, I got a bunch of books for you. You can pick any book you want, but I need you to read the entire book and then tell me about it. And when we drive home, I need you to read out loud. I'm going to correct you. I don't need to see the book to know what you're doing wrong. I said, you can pick any book you want that you're interested in, but if you pick consistently the easiest books, I'm going to make you read more than one book. Okay? Because I want to work with you to help improve. As you are reading, if you run across a word, you're not quite sure what it is, tell me and I will help you with that. I said, during each weekend, I'm going to have you to read out loud. So you're going to read on the way home. It's going to be about an hour and 15 minutes. Your task is to read a book, an entire book, each weekend, and to read out loud so I can work with you. So we started doing that intensely. In fact, I have audio tapes where you can see, not see, but hear him reading and me correcting him. And it is such a wonderful thing for me, because right now, that was decades ago. And my son is extremely literate. Well, I don't even think that's a good phrase, extremely literate. Everybody should be literate. But in other words, he began to excel at a certain point to where he exceeded expectations. Because I didn't feel that his expectations, my expectations, according to my expectations, he was not up to speed. According to the school's expectations, he was. And again, I did not need him to be a prodigy. I just needed him to, be able to read and comprehend and to do well with it. I've always been a reader. My mother came to my house. The first time she came to my house after I bought it, she said, I've got a library. I've got a number of bookcases, and I've got a lot of books. She said, John, you've got more books than they have in the public library, which I thought was funny. Obviously, she was exaggerating. They're interesting. I mean, I've got books in my office. I've got books in my library in the hallway. I've got books in what I call my Africa room. I've got more books there. I've got books in my bedroom, the den area, my office. And I've got a bunch of books in my garage that she didn't know about. They're still in containers. And the interesting thing is I bought these books. I paid money for them. And I read them. Now, I haven't read all of the books because I'm always buying books. I might get new books and just put them in my library. I will get to them because I think we should have a library. We should all have a library of things and subjects we're interested in. But anyway, this is an indictment against you, sir, because if your son is this old and you're just now finding out that he is not as literate as he should be, and I agree, he is not as literate as he should be, but for both these words you gave them phonetically, I can understand why, if they're not voracious readers or if they're just not well read, he might think that the word pigeon is piggion. He's hooked on phonics. Pig-eon. Piggion. That makes sense to him. So it is through literacy and exposure to literacy that we begin to understand all the nuances of speech and language, especially in the English lexicon. A lot of our words are like that. They don't all adhere to the same rules. So according to the rules that he is familiar with, if he sees P-I-G, that's pig, E-O-N, that's eon, pig-eon, that makes sense to him. Yes, the word is pigeon. Pigeon, it has a J, which is like a J sound coming from the G. He doesn't quite comprehend that yet. And you don't even need to teach these specifics. I am telling you, the most important thing that a child can do, or even an adult academically, to improve is to simply read. You don't even need to be taught once you understand the fundamentals and the basics of your language. But the more that you read, the more it's going to make sense. For example, let's just take that particular word, pigeon. That word is isolated. He has no context for the word. You showed him the word, P-I-G-E-O-N, with those 6 letters. You asked him, what does it say? There's no context. If you saw a picture and the word, he would instantly know it's a pigeon. Because you showed him a pigeon, he said, that's a pigeon. You showed him the word pigeon, he said, it's piggion, because there's no context. But if he was reading, and the reason reading is so good, it doesn't matter what we read or who wrote it. When we read a lot, I say find whatever subject you're interested in. Because another thing I would do, I would go to bookstores all the time and buy books, and I would tell my son, you can have any book you want, as long as you read it. I came here to get new books. I'm looking for certain books on certain subjects. But I will always buy you any book you want. If you ever want a book, I don't care what it is, what it's about. As long as it's something you're interested in, I will buy you the book. I only require you to actually read it, study it, whatever it is. Because most of the books I buy are not literature. They're actually academic. I like learning different things and knowing different things about subjects I'm interested in. But that's what we need to do as a parent. We need to be actively involved. It's not that the school system is failing them necessarily, like a lot of people think. And don't blame video games. What the hell do video games have to do with that? There's nothing wrong with video games as long as they are. Now, if your child, instead of paying attention in school, is playing video games on his phone, that's also your fault. Why is he in school with a phone and he's undisciplined and he's playing video games instead of listening to the teacher? That's your fault, and it's the teacher's fault as well. You guys have failed. And another thing, you are putting your child on blast and your nephew for the world to see. Maybe somebody's going to tell you about this and you're going to delete this video, but it's already being, I wouldn't even do this other than the fact that I know that even if you take the original video down, a lot of people are going to clip it. They're already doing it. And that's what's going to happen. And you're shaming these young men, and which is fine to an extent. But on the internet, are you kidding me? And they're going to get teased about this by other kids who probably aren't any better at reading. Back to the word piggion. If he were to read something and it said that, let's say he read, I don't care. I would also have my son read the newspaper. And I'm talking about not only would I have him read child's books, at a certain point, once he was getting better, I would say, I just want you to read the newspaper, the LA Times, the regular newspaper. And he would do that. And again, the main thing we do is as they read, and you should be literate enough yourself to where you don't need to look at the book. Let's just do it like this. Let's say your child is reading, and we all know that Mike Tyson used to collect pigeons. So we might read something in the newspaper or in a book. Boxer Mike Tyson has an affinity. Well, I won't do the word affinity because that's kind of a big word. Boxer Mike Tyson likes piggions. Piggions. Now let's say your child did that. Boxer Mike Tyson likes piggions. Piggions? Obviously, he's struggling with the word. He's not sure because it doesn't make any sense. No, it's not piggions. What's a piggion, Jonathan? I don't know. Okay. Neither does Mike Tyson and neither do I. So what do you think that word is? Look at the word again. It's pigeons. The bird. Yes, the bird. And then we just move on. Forever, that will be implanted in his brain, in his mind, the word pigeons. And it's going to help even beyond that particular word because you're going to be learning and getting exposure to, again, the nuance within the lexicon of English, the various words that we have within the English lexicon, and how some of them do not follow the basic rules that most words might apply to most words phonetically. So phonetically, for him to say piggion, I can understand why he would do that. It is through exposure that he would know the actual word is pigeon, not piggion. Piggion is not even a word. And once you know enough of the lexicon within your particular language, you will know that a piggion doesn't even exist. So even if you just saw the word, you would know it's pigeon. But it comes through experience and exposure, and it is your duty as a parent to have your child to be exposed to as many words, and that's the value of reading. That's exactly what I'm talking about. The more you read, the more exposure to get, the better you get, even if nobody's there to correct you, because things begin to make sense. So the two words are pigeon and I lost that. Oops.
This is what happens when kids rather play video games than pay attention in school.
Bro, y'all, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Ain't no way you don't know this word, bro. How old is you?
How old is you?
And how old are you?
And again, how old is you? Now, he said, how old is you? And then he said, how old are you? Hey, you might think I'm nitpicking. Well, I am, because as a parent, we must lead by example. Even if you sometimes speak like that, even though you know the correct way to verbalize what you're trying to say, at a time like this, where you're trying to create an indelible impression they're not going to forget, you should not be saying, how old is you?
Exactly. Sound like God. Nigga 17. And you don't know this word? I'm going to show y'all. Now,
And then he said, sound like God, nigger 17. And what's up with that? I'm sorry, sir. You're not setting a good example for your sons. You actually use the N-word, nigga, while you're dressing your sons down about their intelligence or lack thereof, their literacy or lack thereof. And it's not so much that they can't read. They just need help. And it's your job to provide that and make sure that they're getting it. Don't blame the schools. Because until they get exposed to certain words, it doesn't necessarily have to be in school within the English language. It's understandable why they might, and the word reindeer. Now, I probably knew that word in about first grade, 6, 7 years old, because Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, when you hear about these things and you see, whether it's a song, a children's book, or whatever it might be, you're going to automatically know the word reindeer. But if you really think about it, if you ask even a lot of adults, probably college graduates, some of them, and I mean that, literally, some college graduates would probably spell reindeer the way you would spell the word rain and deer. They probably get the deer right, D-E-E-R instead of D-E-A-R. But some of them, if they haven't been exposed to it, might think that reindeer is spelled R-A-I-N, like the word rain, and then D-E-E-R, right? So following the rules of phonics, as your children understand it, he's thinking in deer, even though it's not even a word, right? I get it. You work with these kids. They're not stupid, obviously. And they will get it. And that's what you should do. And using these shaming tactics on social media so they can get teased into oblivion by their peers is not the way to do it. So I have to give you an F as a parent for this, sir.
I'm finna show him. What does that say, Maurice? What does it say? You gotta be fucking lying. Look at this. Look, okay.
You gotta be fucking lying. This is the example you're setting as a father.
It's a what? So you know what that is, right? Okay. And what that say? Reender. It say reender.
And what that say? Yes, I am nitpicking, but so are you. That's what we're gonna do. It is funny, I gotta admit, but I feel so, again, my hat is off to you, sir, as a father, for trying and for being present. That's more than a lot of men do. But I got to give you an F on this performance.
Boy, that don't make no damn. And you sitting there, you probably think it say the same thing. He's look at this. I'm gonna show y'all something. I want y'all to see what I'm seeing. I know I ain't tripping. What that say, Makai? Piggy-on. That say Piggy-on. Boy, ain't no.
I don't want to laugh, but I gotta admit, this is hilarious. I mean, the look on the. Oh my God. I was trying to be constructive with my criticism, but I'm sorry. This is hilarious. The look on their face they are like piggy on. He's so sure that, like, Dad, you tripping. It's piggy on. Like, of course, it's piggy on. It's pig, it's eon. I'm telling you, it only takes one time for most people, and they will get it for the rest of their entire life. That is why you expose your children to as much literacy as possible when they are young. You help them to learn to love literacy. And that's why I would tell my children, find whatever you are interested in. You like magic? Well, the best way to learn magic is by getting a book. Let's go get you a magic book. You learn the magic tricks and then you do the magic tricks. And I want to see the magic tricks after you learn how to do them. Because in a book, even though you're not trying to improve your literacy, you're trying to learn how to do magic tricks because you're interested in that. You're going to be improving your overall literacy by default. Interested in baseball, then get some books about baseball. You have a particular person, Wilt Chamberlain, Hank Aaron, Mike Tyson, Bruce Lee, any celebrity, anybody you're interested in their life, you want to learn more about it, get a book at your level or beyond and read it, or get it for your children so they can read it because they're interested in the subject. When a child is already interested in something, it is not even a chore or a task for them to read about the thing they're already interested in. If they want to do something or learn how to do something, if it is in a book or part of a course, their literacy, not only are they going to learn about that particular subject, but they're going to dramatically improve their literacy along the way. That is a fringe benefit. They're doing it in order to get the nuggets, the gold nuggets of knowledge and information on that subject and extrapolate whatever knowledge and skill they can gain by reading about something they're interested in. But along the way, they're improving their literacy by default. Their vocabulary by default. And they're going to know eventually that there are very few words in this language that I am not somewhat familiar with. And a piggion that sounds like it is a noun, then you would say, okay, that's a person, place, or a thing. What exactly is a piggion? There is no piggion, but there is a pigeon. And once you expose to that, even once, it's like, we've got to do better as parents. So this is not all critique. Number one, I commend the two young men for being respectful to their elder. He is the uncle of one, the father of the other. They both revere him. They have a healthy amount of fear of him, as they should, which equates to respect and reverence. And so I applaud them for that. And neither one of them is dumb or unintelligent. They just haven't had adequate exposure to these words and to the language. And you get that through reading. Doesn't matter how good the teacher is, how good the school is, you must read. Reading is fundamental. Reading is fundamental. Reading is fundamental. It's really that simple. And that's easy for us as parents. Have your child to read. Require them to read. Do you know that is the story of people like Ben Carson and Oprah Winfrey and many other people who went on to be very successful? Dr. Ben Carson's mother was illiterate. You know, Dr. Ben Carson, the one who became the whatever job he had with Donald Trump. He actually ran for president. He is the number one neurosurgeon on the planet for separating Siamese twins who are conjoined at the brain. That is an extremely difficult surgery, probably one of the most difficult surgeries you can do. But he was the number one expert at it. His mother, who was illiterate, couldn't read herself, she basically told her two sons that they had to minimize their television watching time. They could only watch a certain amount of television per week but they were required to go to the library and get books and then do a book report and stand and tell her about the book they had read. Now, I did that with my children before I knew about Dr. Ben Carson's story. Read these books every weekend, just one book. If you always pick the easiest books, then I'm going to make you do more than that. But I also told them, you don't have to limit yourself to the one book I require you to read and then tell me about the book. You can treat reading the same way you do playing with a video game, watching television, working a crossword puzzle, or doing anything else, because I love to read. You're going to see me read all the time. You see me read all the time. So what I wanted him to do was not just be pressured and see reading as a task and a chore, but see it as something enjoyable like I do. So I wanted him, even after he did the minimum requirements with those books that I got for him, and I got him a lot of other books too, other than the box that contained about 50, 60 books in it, but I got him more books as well. But just read on your own anytime you want to. These books are yours. I got them for you. They're always going to be here. Every time you come here, these books are for you. And if you have a particular book, you want to take it back with you so you can read it during the week, that's fine. But I want you to get into reading like I am into reading. That is the key and the secret to your success. Reading is fundamental. Anyway, I think I've done enough on this subject. I've beaten this horse to death. It's starting to stink. I could say a lot more about this, but I think I've said enough. But I must say again, in spite of the fact that I want to constructively criticize the young men and constructively criticize the father, as well as I applaud him for his for being a patriarch to his boys, for being a father, for being present. I applaud him for that, and I applaud him for even caring, as many parents don't. And I applaud him for recognizing that there is a problem, even though it's very late in the game. It's very late in the game. You should have recognized this a very long time ago and done something actively to do something about it. By putting this shame game on your boys, and I'm sure he means well by doing this and blasting it all over social media, he probably has good intent, and it will probably work by causing them to pay more attention and focus. And even if they get teased about it by their peers who might happen to see it, even that ultimately will be beneficial to them if it becomes the impetus for them to strive to do better. Strive to do better, as I know they can. So whatever causes them to self-improve, it's a good thing ultimately. But I have to call out the inadequacy when I see it as well. And as a father, sir, you should have been paying attention a very long time ago, before your boys are almost old enough to vote and be considered as adults. But better late than never is all I had to say. And finally, the intensity of the look on this young man's face when he says piggy on, like, what's the problem? It's just so hilarious. And I got to watch it one more time for that reason.
Bro, ain't no goddamn dog. Let me show y'all something. Now watch this. Let me show y'all something. What's this?
I'm sorry.
This is a pigeon, right? So you know what that is? It's a bird. Oh, it's a bird, right? That's not.
And by the way, sir, that's not the sound that a pigeon makes. That's the sound that a crow makes. Anyway.
Damn eagle, man. So he just says a pigeon.
This is what happens when kids rather play video games than pay attention in school.
Bro, y'all, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me. Ain't no way you don't know this word, bro. How old is you? And how old are you?
17.
Exactly. Sound like God. Nigga 17. And you don't know this word? I'm gonna show you off. Now I'm finna show him. What does that say, Maurice? What did it say? You gotta be lying. Look at this. Look, okay. What's this? It's a what? So you know what that is, right? Okay. And what that say? Reender. It say reender.
Reender.
Boy,
Look
that
at
don't
their
make no
face.
damn. And you sitting there, you probably think it say the same thing. You probably think it say the same
This
thing.
is so
Look
hilarious.
at this. I'm gonna show y'all something. I want y'all to see what I'm
This
seeing.
is
I know
so
I ain't
funny.
tripping. What that say, Makai? Piggy on. That's
He's like, piggy on. What are you tripping? You tripping, Uncle? What's up? Piggy on. It's piggy on. I'm not stupid. It says piggy on. What? Listen. This reminds me of my dad dressing me down when I was a boy. My dad was military, and we had the utmost respect for him. You don't move, you don't flinch. You're damn near standing at attention, the way these young men are doing. When my dad dressed me down, when my dad dressed us down, me and my 4 siblings, we were like this. Undivided attention, stoic expression, damn near saluting. He didn't have to raise his voice. He never, ever, ever cursed at us. He never cursed. Period. But he was very stern with his words. And he didn't have to say a lot of them. And we didn't even blink that much. If you look at the body language and the posture of these 2 young men, I see absolute, utter reverence and respect. Now, how much of it is rooted in fear, I don't know. A healthy amount of this reverence should be rooted in fear. But most of it should be rooted in genuine respect and a desire to please. You revere your father. And the mere fact that he is disappointed in you, that hurts. That's painful. You do not want your father to be disappointed in you. It feels like rejection. You know you're doing something or you have done something that displeases him. That should be the crux of what you are displaying when you are reverent. If it's all based on fear, where is the love? It should not be fear of reprisal. Like if I do or say the wrong thing, he's going to smack me at any moment. It should not be based on abuse, like they are abusive either verbally or physically. It should be based on, I love my dad so much. I want him to be proud of me, and I want him to be pleased with me. If I have done something to displease him, I need to course correct. That is the attitude your sons should have towards their father. That's the way my sons are towards me. And that's the way I was towards my dad. Anyway, that's all I got for you. If you like the video, click the like button. If you have not subscribed, subscribe to my channel. I will be putting out a lot more content of this nature and other things and topics dealing with family and dating, mating, courting, relationships, money, wealth, manhood, masculinity, and other subjects, politics. So it is what it is. Most importantly, leave a comment. Leave a comment. And read the comments other people wrote. They wrote it for a reason. So read them. Comment on them. Engage. I'm out.